call the member for Cunningham.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I thank my colleagues for the opportunity to just jump in on this debate, and hopefully in 5 minutes I can cover what I want to talk about. The Minister made his opening statement in this portfolio area with a focus on the skills component of the portfolio, and I acknowledge some of the initiatives that he talked about that are part of this appropriation bills that we're looking at. But I want to say to the Minister that this is a very small drop in the ocean given the massive cuts that have been made to this sector over 6 years, 3 Prime Ministers, and to be quite honest, I've lost count of how many ministers have had responsibility. I want to just briefly talk about what they are and lead into my questions for the Minister. What we have actually seen whilst this government over these 6 years has been in place is the loss of over 150,000 apprentices. Again, this week, national reports out indicating the significance of this loss. This has been a direct result of the cuts of over $3 billion that have occurred time and time again under this government since the first budget of the Abbott government in 2014. Before the election, I will acknowledge that Tony Abbott promised that apprentices would be better off under his government if they were elected. Yet, in the very first Abbott budget, they slashed $2 billion from apprentices, skills, vocational education and training, including a whopping $1 billion from apprenticeship programs, and the cuts did not stop. The Abbott government hit hard. They axed $1 billion, demolished the Tools for Your Trade program, which supported apprentices to buy the equipment they needed. They slashed a further $1 billion in investment in skills by cutting funding to programs such as the National Workforce Development Fund, the Workplace English Language and Literacy program, the Australian Apprenticeship Access program, the Accelerated Australian Apprenticeship program, the Australian Apprentice Mentoring program, and the Apprentice to Business Owner program, which helped apprentices transition to become their own small businesses. They did announce a much smaller program, the Industry Skills Fund, which was only $27 million in the first year and wound down to $1.9 million in the 2018-19 budget. In November 2014, we learnt the Abbott government was taking the axe to funding for Joint Group Training program, $12.5 million, 20% in that year, and the program completely gone by 2015-16. Just a month later, in December 2014, adult apprentices were dealt a blow with the announcement of a $66 million cut to direct adult apprentice assistance payments. Before their second budget, in anticipation of their contempt for skills and training, key peak national industry bodies warned the government in pre-budget submissions about the problems that were occurring with not investing in skills and training. There were statements by the AIG, the Business Council of Australia and the ACTU. To no avail, in the second budget, there was a 20% cut in funding across the portfolio, including abolishing industry skills councils. Later that year, in the December MyEFO, Malcolm Turnbull promised new leadership but cut a further $273.8 million over 4 years from the Industry Skills Fund and $122.9 million from the Skills for Education and Employment program. I'm going to run out of time to get through all these cuts, but I'll do my best. It should have been ringing alarm bells when it then was discovered that there were 100,000 less apprentices in training. But no, Budget Day 2016, they axed a further $247 million from the portfolio and had no new initiatives. Budget Day 2017, when there were now 130,000 fewer apprentices, they cut another $600 million from the portfolio. Today, the Prime Minister in question time said that TAFE has nothing to do with the federal government. He said it's a state government responsibility. If we are serious about skills development and the issues that the Minister raised in his opening statement, it can't just be rhetoric and it can't be band-aid programs. This government must get back seriously in the business of investing into skills development. And I want to ask the Minister whether he agrees with the Prime Minister that TAFE is not a federal responsibility and therefore doesn't see a role for the federal government in it, And how will the minister be arguing to close that chasm in investment, not just rhetoric?
Question